The Chronicles of Global Mythology, a synthesis. Chapter 1. Before time existed, the void that gave birth to everything. 1. Hesiod's chaos, the void before time. In the opening verses of the Theogony, Hesiod posits that before all things, there was chaos. This was not merely a state of confusion, but a literal gaping, a yawning void, a silent abyss that preceded the very concept of matter. Out of this abyss, without a father or mother, appeared Gaia, the earth, the broad-bosomed and eternal seat of all the immortals. Simultaneously, Tartarus arose, a murky, sunless pit in the depths of the earth, and Eros emerged, desire, the most beautiful of gods, whose purpose was to subdue the minds of gods and men alike. From chaos also sprang Erebus, the gloom of the underworld, and Nyx, the blackness of night. In a beautiful poetic reversal, Hesiod describes how night and darkness united to bring forth their opposites. Ether, the radiant upper air, and Hemera, the day, marking the first victory of light over the primordial dark. A cosmic birth that required no architect, only the inherent tension of the void. 2. The Ginnunga gap in the Prose Edda, fire and ice. According to the Gylfaginning in Snorri Sturluson's Prose Edda, the world did not begin with a void of nothingness, but with two conflicting realms of absolute extremity. To the north lay Niflheim, a world of freezing mist and calcified ice, home to the spring Hvergelmir, from which 11 venomous rivers flowed. To the south was Muspel, a glowing, burning land of sparks and molten fire, guarded by the giant Surtur. Between them lay the Ginnunga gap, a silent, windless abyss where the air was as still as a held breath. When the searing heat of Muspel met the rime frost of Niflheim in the center of the void, the ice began to thaw and drip with life force. These drops took the form of Ymir, the first frost giant, a monstrous being of immense scale. As Ymir slept, he sweated, and from his very limbs more giants were born. To nourish him, the cow Audhumla emerged from the melting frost, her milk sustaining the giant, while her tongue licked the salt stones to reveal the first of the gods. 3. Egyptian Nu, the waters of creation. Based on the funerary texts in Wallace Budge's The Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Egyptians viewed the beginning as a boundless, stagnant ocean, called Nu, or Nun. This was the father of the gods, representing the primeval watery mass from which all life emerged. Within this liquid chaos, the spirit of the creator god Adamare existed in a state of potentiality, a spark submerged in a dark sea. Through an act of supreme self-will, Adam rose from the water onto a primeval mound, known as the Benben, taking the form of a golden phoenix. He then created order, out of the chaotic waters, stabilizing the world against the encroaching tides of the abyss. The Book of the Dead emphasizes that even after creation, these primordial waters remained at the edges of the universe, a silent threat, waiting for the moment the cosmic balance would falter, to reclaim the earth. 4. Vedic concepts of infinite space. In the great epics of ancient India, the Ramayana and Mahabharata, the cosmos is portrayed as an infinite cycle of manifestation, an eternal coming and going of existence. The texts describe the Hiranyagarbha, the golden embryo, which floated in the darkness of the non-existent for an aeon. This golden egg was the seed of all the worlds, containing the heat of desire and the light of knowledge. When it split, the upper half became the sky, and the lower half the earth, divided by the infinite ether. This creation is overseen by Brahma, the creator. But the epics remind us that Brahma himself is a manifestation of the supreme Brahman. Unlike the linear timelines of the West, the Indian tradition introduces the concept of kalpas, eons, suggesting that the universe we see is just one breath of the divine, destined to be dissolved into the cosmic ocean and recreated in an eternal rhythmic dance. 5. The Central Asian sky god, Tingri's first breath. In Bahedin Ojul's Turkish mythology, the creation begins with a duality of sky and water that predates time itself. At a time when there was no earth or heaven, there was only a great endless sea, a liquid mirror of the spirit world. Kok Tingri, the eternal blue sky, was the sovereign spirit above these waters, the uncreated source of all. In the Altai traditions, Tingri is often accompanied by a first man, or a secondary spirit. Tingri commands this spirit to dive into the deep primordial waters, to bring up a handful of mud from the floor of the sea. From this mud, Tingri expands the dry land. However, the shadow of conflict was present from the start, because the spirit tried to hide some of the mud in his mouth, to create his own world. The earth became uneven with jagged mountains and treacherous marshes. This Turkic narrative emphasizes the supreme authority of the sky, and the inherent flaw in the material world, which was born from a mix of divine command and earthly disobedience.